Krishna Prus. I'd like to welcome His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj. It's nice to have you back here, Maharaj, after quite some time. A year. And I'll just give a brief introduction, even though you don't really need an introduction. But yeah, Jayadvaita Maharaj is a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He's initiated in 68, sannyas in 78. He's been an editor, publisher, writer, and everything else that comes with writing. He was an editor of the BBD for several decades. And he's been a traveling monk for several decades. So it's really nice to have you back here, Maharaj. Thank you. Everybody could just give a round of welcome to Maharaj.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pashtita Deshatani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you all for being here. I'll say something about what we'll be doing this evening and what we'll be about. I have since the time of COVID, I've had a class going on in Srimad Bhagavatam on Zoom for 3 days a week, the fourth one on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that goes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock, which means, 13 minutes from now. And so what we'll do is we'll merge that class with this class, if you don't mind being merged. And the rules are that if you have any questions or comments at any point, you're welcome to jump in. That's about it for rules. And I'll catch you up with where we are. We're reading the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the second chapter, I believe. No, third chapter perhaps. And this concerns a grand sacrificial performance that took place, a yajna, as they're called. And the history is that it was performed by Maharaj Daksha, who was one of the Prajapatis, the creators of population for the universe in primordial times. And in such sacrifices, all exalted persons are invited. The demigods and sages and so on, they're all invited to take place in these really grand ceremonies. So at that ceremony, demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and many others were present, and then Daksha himself entered the arena. And he's such an influential and powerful person that everyone else present all stood to respect him. But as he took his seat, he saw that Lord Shiva had not stood. He was still sitting. And Daksha Maharaj took umbrage with this. He felt insulted. Shiva is his son-in-law because he's married to Sati, Daksha's daughter. So Daksha thought, he's my junior in relationship to me. I'm his respectable superior, and who does he think he is? And so he spoke out. He became angry, more angry, more angry, and then he spoke out to the assembly and essentially insulted Lord Shiva. I was obliged to offer my daughter to this person who is unclean and doesn't follow any kind of regulated life, because you know Lord Shiva dresses with garlands of weeds and skulls, and he smears his body with ashes from the crematorium. He's a unconventional Vaishnava. So Daksha went on and on insulting him, and Lord Shiva didn't say anything. But then his principal follower there, Nandishvara, spoke out against Daksha and essentially cursed Daksha and the Brahmins who remained silent while Daksha was insulting Lord Shiva. So now you have on one side Nandishvara and Lord Shiva's followers, and on the other side we have Daksha and also the Brahmins who are implicated in the actual insult. So we'll see there'll be cursing and counter-cursing going on. There'll be passions rising and anger overflowing, and that's the point, I believe, to which we've reached. And of course, we're just going to get a little slice tonight of what's in that narrative. In the Bhagavad Gita it said, Kama krodha tata lobhas tasmadeva trayam tyajet. One should give up anger and lust and greed. These things just lead us down to hellish life. Krodha, especially anger. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. When one becomes angry, he becomes bewildered. And he forgets who he is, where he is, who's who, what's what. And then he loses his intelligence and everything is lost. So we see that illustrated in this history, and that's where we are. Any questions about that little intro? For those who have phones, I'll get you to where we are. You can follow along. I guess you know it's, what is it, database.net or database.com, you can find these things. And we're on stream, .io, okay. Database.io, and you're looking for Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 2, Text 16. Okay, I see where we are. So we're in the midst, I put you a little bit ahead of the story, but we're in the midst of the first round of insults from Prajapati Daksha hurled toward Lord Shiva. And what we do once we log on is we have a little more kirtan. And in fact, if you'd like to lead the kirtan from this side, that would be fine. We go for about 5 minutes, and we have a rule for that. It's just Hare Krishna, just one tune, and then we stop. And are you leading that kirtan? Are you leading that kirtan? Who's leading?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Vishnupad Purnansapari Prajacharya Ashtotra Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Welcome to everyone. We're broadcasting today from Krishna House in Gainesville, Florida, where, for those who are here, we're on a thrice weekly Zoom call, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're continuing to read in the fourth canto concerning a great sacrifice performed by King Daksha, in which he insults Lord Shiva. And I hand it over to Mahesh Pandit Prabhu in New Jersey.
Today is August 9, 2024. It's Friday, and we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, entitled Krishna versus Lord Shiva. So I'll go with chapter number 16. Dasma Madanathaya Nasta Shauchaya Urvade Dattavan Maya Sadvi Udite Parameshtina. On the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him. Although he is devoid of all cleanness and his heart is filled with nasty things. But it is the duty of a parent to hand over their daughters to a suitable person, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. He was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parmeshti, the supreme teacher in the universe. Because of his temperament of gross anger, he was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. In other words, he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent because he had advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such a nasty fellow. In anger, one forgets everything, and thus Daksha in anger not only accused the great Lord Shiva, but criticized his own father, Lord Brahma, for his not very austere advice that Daksha hand over his daughter to Lord Shiva.
Maybe I'll take over,
Yes.
departing a little bit from our usual format so that we have contextual smoothness here in Gainesville. So maybe I'll speak a little more tonight, if that's okay. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Naman Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani nirvishesha shunyavadi paschatadeshatari. But we will invite questions and comments from all sides. As discussed, the Daksha Maharaj has insulted Lord Shiva and even Lord Brahma. Daksha's the son of Lord Brahma, the original created being in the universe, but he doesn't acknowledge, he doesn't say, my father, Brahma. He just says, this person, Brahma. So he's insulting Brahma and he's insulting Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma obliged me to hand over my beautiful daughter to this awful person, Lord Shiva. It's, Tasmad Unmadanatai, he's the Lord of crazy beings, Unmadanata. Nashta Shochaya, he's not clean. Durvide is full of nasty things in his heart. And my daughter is so qualified, but Brahma made me hand her over to Lord Shiva. That's his complaint here. It's also notable that in the Vedic culture, the marriage didn't take place by the modern Western system of courtship and dating or mixing and getting to know one another and then living together and then seeing how we like it and then maybe getting married and all of that. And with all the drama inherent in that. This is all foreign to the Vedic culture. And we see it doesn't work very well. There's so much trouble in the whole system and with the whole way of doing things. And at the end, it's 50% of failure anyway. So the Vedic system is different. From the Vedic calculation, who's the least qualified to decide who should marry whom? It's the boy and girl concerned. First of all, they're basically kids. They're not. They don't have years and years of experience at in these matters, and also their hearts are all full of who knows what, love, I guess you call it, and that makes them even less qualified to see things straight. There's a witty fellow who said that love is like an hourglass with the heart filling in proportion to the emptying of the head. So the Vedic system is that the parents would arrange these things. They would see the qualifications of the boy, the qualifications of the girl, what kind of family are they from, what kind of temperament do they have, if he's a boy, what is his earning power, if it's a girl, how qualified is she as a wife, do they match in their interests and their mentalities, are they of similar social standing, so many boxes would be ticked. Of course, the astrologers would be consulted whether this is going to work out. And the respective boy and girl would be brought into the decision-making also. They were free to express themselves as to their thoughts in the matter. But finally, it wasn't they didn't have the final say. The final say would be with the parents. at the end, someone has to make a decision. So the respective parents would settle it up after much consideration. After all, the parents are always affectionate to the children and want the best for them, and know this is okay. This is the rest of their life when they're set up, fixed up, as the expression usually goes, settled up or fixed up. Then okay, they can get on with their life. Till then, everything's going to be unsettled. Things will be unsettled. We're wondering what's going to happen. Okay, let's just settle this business, and then move forward. Not remain in perpetual wonder, confusion, or angst, or what have you. So that was a very good system, still followed in many parts of the world. But here the complaint is from Daksha that I handed my daughter over to this most unqualified person because Brahma essentially made me do it. It's a foolish complaint, actually, because by Brahma's advice, he handed over his daughter to the most qualified person, although Lord Shiva is unconventional in many ways. He's one of the 12 most exalted Mahajans, great souls in the universe. Okay. Are there any comments or questions so far? Okay. So we can read on. Someone reading from the Zoom side, or how are we doing it?
You can do on your side, Maharaj.
I can do on my side. Okay, that means I'll personally do it then, because it's handing microphones around is not going to be the best way. Maitreyu vacha vinindyavam sagirisham apratipam avastitam daksho tapa upasprishya krutashaptum prachakrame. The sage Maitreya, who's telling this story, continued, thus Daksha, seeing Lord Shiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth and cursed him in the following words. This is how we do serious curses, not just hurling some insults, but when sages would curse, the curses would have power. Even a boy, Shringi, a Brahmin boy, cursed a great king, the great King Parikshit, to die within 7 days, and the curse was effective. So these great persons had such power. Their curses were not idle. They were serious business. And this is part of the cursing process. We wash our hands and then we let it rip. Ayam tu deva yajana indropendradi bhavaha saha bhagam nalabhatam devayar deva ganatamaha. The demigods are eligible to share in the oblations of sacrifice. But Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all the demigods, should not have a share. Sacrificial performances, there were offerings made to the demigods, and the demigods would be nourished by receiving a share of these sacrifices. So Daksha curses Lord Shiva, you won't get your share. It was due to the curse of Daksha, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments in this connection, that Lord Shiva was saved from the calamity of taking part with other demigods who were all materialistic. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it's not fitting for him to eat or sit with materialistic persons like the demigods. Thus, the curse of Daksha was indirectly a blessing, for Shiva would not have to eat or sit with other demigods who were too materialistic. There's a practical example set for us by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, who used to sit on the side of a latrine to chant Hare Krishna. Many materialistic persons used to come and bother him and disturb his daily routine of chanting. Oh, Swamiji, please accept my respects. Oh, Babaji, we're so glad to get your darshan. Oh, Babaji, please give your blessings. Oh, Babaji, how are you? How is your health, Babaji? Do you remember me? I saw you 7 years ago. Now it would be, oh, Babaji, can I take your picture? So many materialistic persons used to come and bother him and disturb his daily routine of chanting. So, to avoid their company, he used to sit by the side of a latrine where materialistic persons would not go because of the filth and the obnoxious smell. However, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was so great that he was accepted as the spiritual master of such a great personality as His Divine Grace, Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva behaved in his own way to avoid materialistic persons who might disturb him in his prosecution of devotional service. Any questions or comments about this, either in Alachua or elsewhere? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. It's just interesting for me, the extent that Daksha goes.
Is that microphone working?
It is, yeah.
There we go.
It's interesting to see the extent that Daksha is going to minimize or downplay such exalted character. And I'm wondering, what would you say on, we understand it's anger and he's covered, but just the level of his emotional maturity seems like that's questionable too. Because he could have approached him directly and said, hey, I have this and that problem, but he's bringing up to everybody.
This is what happens, that he could have just approached it with maturity and said, Shivaji, here's the issue, don't mind, but really you should have, but instead he's becoming angrier and angrier, and it's coming to insults and curses. So that's the nature of anger. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes it as one of three gates to hellish life. Anger is so toxic. Anger is so toxic. By anger, one becomes carried away. He loses his intelligence. And anyone would know that you don't insult a person like Lord Shiva. You're taking your life into your hands. You're insulting a great soul. That's like suicidal, practically. What are you doing? But this is what happens when people become angry. They'll do anything. And you can pass legislation, right? You can pass legislation to what's the word? Discourage, or to discourage such wrongful things. But when a person's angry, he'll do anything. Yeah. And then later, what did I do? I hit my wife with an iron pipe. What got into me? They'll do mad things. That's the nature of anger. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter how cultured you are. It doesn't matter what's at stake for your reputation or for your anything else. It doesn't matter, because you're carried away by anger. And we say, the common saying is that one loses it. The it being one's everything, one's intelligence especially. And so, and it starts, like it's described in the Bhagavad Gita, that sexual desire starts that way. We see a girl, we think she's nice, and then we start thinking about her, and then we start dreaming about her, and then we start obsessing over her, and then we're making plans. How can I meet her? And da 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 da. So it grows. So that's the nature of anger. Also, it starts small, but then it grows, and we obsess over it. Who do they think he is? And one becomes mad. One becomes mad. And then later one may regret it, but then it's too late. Yes?
It seems like part of the problem Raksha has, in addition to his extremely excessive pride, is it appears that he feels he's been insulted in front of all the demigods. So it appears from the text this has become a magnifier for him. Oh, Lord Shiva has not stood up in the assembly for me in front of all, so he feels he's been minimized in front of all the demigods.
Yeah, it's been observed that this is what we do. We have sort of an ongoing narrative in our heads in which we about our good qualities. And we also may have a narrative going on about others, especially when we become angry. He's duplicitous. He just puts on a show of being a decent person, but I know what his heart is like. He'll sell you for an acorn. Look at the family comes from is really a disreputable family, and he said this to that person and this to that person, and it shows that he's this and that, and you go on and on and on. And that's the nature of anger. And it really goes like that. It's destructive in that way. So we're warned in Bhagavad Gita, be careful about anger. It can ruin you. Just a few moments of anger and everything's destroyed. Yes. Yes.
From your experience, Maharaj, what would you suggest as a preventative measure in interpersonal?
What preventive measure in interpersonal relationships?
Yeah, like instead of just tolerating and just exploding,
Instead of tolerating and exploding,
wouldn't it be better to just kind of approach a person directly and open
is it
our
better
heart
to approach the person directly
and reveal our
so on?
mind and reveal our hearts and something's bothering?
We may say that it's better to deal with things in a more civilized, gentlemanly, or ladylike fashion.
Because it's not a perfect world. We're going to have issues,
It's
right?
not at all a perfect world. Srila Prabhupada gave a hint that he'd given some advice earlier that how do we deal with lustful desires? Because spontaneously, lust can appear in the heart, and then it's like, oh, wow. Yeah. There was a song back in the 1960s, Love is Like a Heat Wave. I won't perform it for you, but that was the refrain, that love is like a heat wave, and it gets like that, like a wave in the ocean, but that carries a person away. Those strong waves are so strong that they can just pull you out to sea. So one develops love, that is to say, lust, and gets carried away. So what to do about that? Prabhupada gave the suggestion that when such desires come, aniccan api varshnaya, balad eva niyojita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, we don't want to be overwhelmed by such desires. Aniccan. It's not our wish to be like that. But they're so powerful that they like carry us away. So what to do? Prabhupada said when those desires appear, we can just think of Radha and Krishna. Because their loving desires are unlimited. They're on the absolute platform, and they're completely pure. So when our thinking is transferred to Krishna, then our consciousness becomes purified. So that suggestion he gave. Now, then he was later asked, well, what about anger? And Prabhupada said, you can just think of Lord Nrsingadev. Lord Nrsingadev is Krishna in the form of half lion, half man, who appears with enormous anger because his devotee, the child Prahlad, has been oppressed by his demonic father, who tried to, in so many ways, to torture or kill him. So Lord Krishna became so angry that he appeared in this ferocious form of Lord Nrsingadev. He was so angry that even the demigods couldn't calm him down. They offered sweet words, beautiful prayers, and Lord Nrsingadev remained angry. So Prabhupada gave this hint that when you sometimes become angry, you can remember Lord Nrsingadev, who's unlimitedly angry. We're only a little angry as we may be. It's really small time. We're only a little bit angry. Lord Nrsingadev is unlimitedly angry. There's no limits, because again, he's the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. He's beyond limits in everything. So he's unlimitedly angry also. But his anger is pure. So by thinking of Lord Nrsingadev, our consciousness becomes purified.
Would it be okay to think of Prahlad as well?
Excuse me?
Would it be okay to think of
Is it okay to think of Prahlad? Of course. When when you think of Lord Nrsingadev, naturally you'll think of Prahlad. But Prahlad wasn't angry. He was so gentle that even though his father had tried to kill him in so many ways, he only desired good for his father. Lord Nrsingadev desired good for his father also, but he really wanted to give him something good. So thinking of Lord Nrsingadev is to the point because the subject is anger. But naturally, when we think of Lord Nrsingadev, we'll think of Prahlad. And then we can think that why should I pretend to be like Lord Nrsingadev, or why I can't compete with Lord Nrsingadev? What's my anger compared to his anger? Better that I become like Prahlad, gentle and always dependent on Krishna's mercy. Yes, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Nishijyamana sasadasya mukyar taksho giritraya prasrijya shapam tasmad vinishkramya vivridhamanyur jagama kauravya nijam niketanam. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, in spite of the requests of all the members of the sacrificial assembly, Daksha, in great anger, cursed Lord Shiva and then left the assembly and went back to his home. Purport: anger is so detrimental that even a great personality like Daksha, out of anger, left the arena where Brahma was presiding, and all the great sages and pious and saintly persons were assembled. All of them requested him not to leave, but infuriated, he left, thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. Puffed up by his exalted position, he thought that no one was greater than he in argument. It appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and leave their company. But in spite of all these requests, he left. That is the effect of cruel anger. In the Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha. The very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities. But still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly person as Shiva, he was attacked by these three enemies: anger, lust, and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offenses toward a Vaishnava to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, so when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action. So this is how it is. We become angry, and we're convinced that our anger is righteous anger, and that everyone else is somehow just doesn't get it. And we have been offended, and therefore finally we say, I'm out of here. turn our back on you. That was Daksha's king. And all these saintly persons who are assembled, even Lord Brahma, who's the most respected person in the universe, his father, request him, no, calm down, just, no. This abhiman, this false pride, is so contaminating, so contaminating. And especially Daksha didn't consider that Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava. Not only is he a great demigod, but he's the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as Prabhupada mentions here, to offend a Vaishnava is the greatest calamity. It brings all calamity in one's life, because the devotees are dear to the Lord. If one pleases a devotee who's dear to the Lord, one can make rapid spiritual progress. Therefore, we approach the Supreme Lord through the spiritual master, through the mercy of saintly persons, because if they're pleased, if the spiritual master is pleased, yasya prasada bhagavat prasad. When he is pleased, the Lord will be pleased. Prabhupada gave the example, you give a little candy to the son of a rich man, the man will be pleased. You can't please the man by giving him, even big bribes. But you give a little candy to his son, and the man thinks, oh, such a nice man. So, by pleasing a Vaishnava, serving a Vaishnava, devotee of the Lord, one can make all progress. But by offending a devotee, one can ruin one's spiritual life. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the example, the mad elephant. The elephants are big, first of all. They're super powerful. That trunk is really something. If you've ever been grasped by an elephant's trunk, that it's not just, as they say, solid muscle, but it's all these muscles, a whole array of muscles built into that, converging in that trunk. The elephant can toss you like a piece of wood, like a piece of bamboo. Just toss you. They can uproot a whole tree, can stomp down people's little cottages. The elephant can wreak havoc. And mad elephant. When an elephant becomes mad, then he's so dangerous. And the mad elephant doesn't know what he's doing, but he's got a big body. So, and then typically the elephant is, as they say, put down, killed. You can't have that. What can you do? The elephant may be so valuable. The elephant is worth so much. It can do so much work. It can carry a warrior into battle. It can do so many things. But when an elephant becomes mad, imagine, like a modern weapon with all of its circuits gone crazy so that it can attack you, it can attack your allies, it can attack everything. And it's meant to attack the enemy. Yeah, they call it a glitch. It's quite something. But just even that some wrong advice went out and the whole internet went down a couple of weeks ago. And then every kind of confusion. But that's just by not working. if an elephant doesn't work, but when the elephant's mad, he's working at top energy, but mad, can destroy everything. So an offense to a devotee works like that, because Krishna can tolerate offenses to himself, but not offenses to his devotees. It's said that, the example is given, that, in the heat of a place like Gainesville, maybe we can tolerate the sun on our head, but if we're walking barefoot, we can't tolerate the sun on our feet. And if you're walking on the asphalt or something, bare feet, intolerable. Intolerable. The sun on our head, all right, somehow tolerate. But so Krishna can tolerate offenses to himself, but very difficult for him to tolerate offenses to his devotees. Therefore, one is warned. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warns. That's very vigilantly. We should avoid committing offenses to devotees. And the best thing is we should serve the devotees with affection, with respect. That's not just, I won't offend, but positively to develop loving relationships with the devotees, to appreciate the devotees in a humble mood. Amani na amana Danish. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that we should be that we should not puff ourselves up with desires to be respected, but we should offer all respects to others in a humble mood. Yes? Oh yeah, I've got some online things here too. Yes?
He's asking, is it wrong to be offended or hurt by something someone did?
Is it wrong to be offended or hurt by something someone did? Well, to be hurt is not a question of right or wrong, it's a question of feeling. But this sense of being offended, let's leave aside right or wrong. It's undeserved. If we really took account of our own wrongdoings, it would be quite a book. We all know things that we've done that are not very good at all. If we're in our, what should we say, reflective moments, we can think of things that we've done. And above all, we've turned our backs on our eternal relationship with the Absolute Truth, with the personality of Godhead. And we're trying to make a go of it here, being, very important people. Everyone is the center of his own world. That's a diseased mentality. Krishna is the center of everything. So we offend Krishna by turning our back against him. And then we offend so many other people in the course of our lives. And yet we are offended because you didn't do this, or you said that, or you looked at me this way, or you didn't do this, or you did that, or this or that. And we go on and on and on about it. But who am I? That I've been offended, as if I were the king of the world or someone very, very important. We lose the sense that we're really tiny little beings. And why should we deserve to be? How do we deserve to be offended? We ourselves are like our own little criminals, every one of us. We've done so many things. If it all came out in public, no one would have anything to do with us, right? If it all somehow or other, if everything we knew about ourselves were published, no one would want to have, no one would want to have anything to do with us. But we take it as a very serious thing when we are offended. so it's a sort of a warped response. Leave aside whether it's right or wrong, it's totally undeserved. Is that okay? Yes, Acharya.
I don't know how much to make of this, but I find it really interesting and even kind of touching in a way that Maitreya is narrating this to Vidura specifically, because Vidura also went through a situation where someone who was supposed to be
The microphone doesn't.
someone who was supposed to be a well-wisher, is it working? Was also overcome by lust, anger, and passion, and cursed him and drove him out of the house. So I'm wondering, it's just speculating, is Maitreya thinking of that he chose to relate this story because of that? Is Vidura feeling, maybe encouraged or getting something out of hearing this particular story because of his own experience back in Hastinapur?
We're observing that this narration was told by the sage Maitreya to Vidura, whose experience with dealing with an infuriated, insulting person has been related earlier, as a result of which Vidura left the state to which he was dedicated, the nation to which he was dedicated, and became a pilgrim. So is Maitreya relating this with that offense in mind in some way to encourage Vidura or something along that line? I don't know. I haven't seen anything directed to that thought. But at least we may remember that, yes, this Vidura is an experienced person in these matters. He's seen how anger can overtake someone. And there was another online question there. Otherwise, we have some here. They're too small for me to read, though. Would you like to read what's in the chat box for me, Dinesh Pandit Prabhu?
Yes, I can read, Maharaj. Okay, let's see. Earlier, Praveen Prabhu said, sometimes parents need advice too. Here Brahma had to tell Daksha that Sati is suitable for Shiva. One parent thought he needed his daughter to complete her
Okay, let me look
before thinking about her marriage. Another parent also thought that his son had not earned enough to think of marriage.
I don't think I follow this. Brahma
Yeah,
had to tell Daksha that Shiva's suitable for Shiva. Because the parents might have thought, Daksha might have thought that this Shiva, he doesn't even have a house to live in. He's living under a tree. I mean, do you really want to marry your daughter to someone? I mean, usually we say, okay, he's an MA and he's working for a good firm and he's probably over the next 10 years he'll earn this much and that much. Not a bad choice for my daughter. But here, Lord Shiva doesn't even have a house, not even a flat. He's living under a tree. Do I want to marry my daughter to someone who, has that kind of situation? He can't even afford a place to live in. So Brahma said, yes, you do, because he's so highly qualified.
Then Saraswati Devi said to everyone, often asking an angry person with humility to calm down only angers them further. Just like the more humility Prahlad Maharaj showed. the more anger his father became. It's surprising that even in the assembly of demigods and saints, we see uncivilized, out of control anger exhibited where the audience is held hostage to such abominable behavior from the host.
We see the other dynasty destroyed by anger. Anger is so toxic. There's one more comment.
And the Praviguru said, and he quotes the words, "My dear king, when a man persecutes great souls, all his benedictions of longevity, beauty, fame, religion, blessings, and promotion to higher planet will be destroyed."
Yes. By insulting great souls, one loses everything. Yes. And by serving
Do
and
we
pleasing.
have that time again?
Yeah, we're reaching
Somebody can
the.
read it on your side, Kirtan.
Yes. By insulting great souls, one can lose everything. But by serving and pleasing great devotees, one can gain everything. All right, would someone like to lead kirtan? Okay, we're making a choice here. We have lots of choices. And we go for a few minutes and sort of end up the hour. A few minutes after. We can go, you don't have to come out.
I told him that, I said, if this house were my house, there's a she has one focused time. So maybe I appreciate it.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.